Hello YouTube, welcome back to another Citizen Tech Talk episode. Guys, it's been a very interesting week with everything going on with the Redditors and with, the general situation at hand. I've just been invited yesterday to do a video with Segellion and the night crew. So guys, look, we've done a really good episode together. I thought it was very professional, it was very nice. During recording, obviously, I couldn't see myself as we were using the Zoom app instead of Skype NDI. So, I gave it a watch today, and I thought this was a good opportunity for you guys to actually see me for who I am, aside from the jokes and the satire and the comedy and the dark humour, but more of me just in my normal element, me as a person, and where I stand on Star Citizen, what I believe is going to happen in the future, the pros and the cons, and also, the points of discussion from both sides of the audience's aspect to, really encroach upon where we are with Star Citizen, why I'm leaving Star Citizen on the shelf for a while, and more importantly, why I'm focusing on Cyberpunk 2077 now. So guys, look, what can I say? But I hope you enjoy the episode. Cheers.
And there we go. We should be live.
Hello, guys.
Citizen Tech Talk. Welcome to the Late Night Crew Show. How you doing today? How's it going?
Very good. Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. Yes, things are well, but slightly warm in Australia, even though it's not even summer yet. How about yourself?
Oh, man. I don't know. It's pretty cold here. I don't know if I told you, but I'm in Canada, and it's about 9 degrees Celsius out right now, so it's a little cool. Yeah, well...
I'd love to swap place with you right now.
Oh, yeah?
Mate. Yeah. Being just a big meaty bloke in this, not the right country to be living in for a big bloody Scandinavian bloke, but hey, life happens, I guess. Thanks, parents.
Yeah. Well, I'm going into winter right now, so you're leaving winter, going into summer, right? Yeah. And it's been kind of up and down weather where it's been super hot, scorching summer days, freezing cold winter nights, and it's weird. It's very weird, and global warming doesn't exist. Righto. Come to Australia and tell me it doesn't. You know what I mean? Yeah, hot as hell. Were you around the forest fires earlier this year? Was that kind of within your vicinity?
Oh yeah. We had it within 4 kilometers of town.
Oh my.
Which is about 2.25 miles, maybe 2.5 miles. From town, so yeah, pretty damn close, and we got smoked out. The skies went red. We had all kinds of black stuff coming out of the sky, leaves as well. It was bad. We were about maybe an hour away from being evicted from our homes as such, and evacuated into town. But luckily, the fireys got it, and the wind changed. And that's the whole thing with fires in Australia, is the wind that dictates where the fire goes. And no matter how much water you put into it, if that fire's already got enough heat in it, that's what will dictate it, is that wind. So yeah, it switched. Very luckily.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next. Is were you evacuated? But no. How far away would that evacuation would have been? Do you know people who were evacuated?
Not in town. We do know of people down the freeway from us that lost a few houses, and that they're fine. They didn't lose, any lives or any pets or anything, which is lucky. But yeah, other people down the way and up the way in between where I live on the mid-north coast of Australia, on the eastern side of the country, lots of people lost their homes, and especially down south. That's where it really copped it the worst, below Sydney, around Kiama and down south from there. They didn't have the manpower, or the fire started in very inaccessible bushland, and just they couldn't get the trucks in. And the fires came like in the California wildfires. It just comes flying down the hill, and it's at your back door before you know it. And the heat is so intense. And if you jump in the pool, obviously you're going to be boiled to death. You stay in your house, you can get burnt to death. So it's a lose-lose situation. When fire takes over, you get out, and you don't worry about material stuff. except for it's your computer, and you grab that and you take that with you and you've got to chuck it on your back.
Yeah. From a global perspective, it seemed like there was raging fires in Australia, and then immediately after that, we got into COVID mode. So it was like pre-COVID world, post-COVID world within a week. But I don't even know what the results were of the fire. I guess they subsided.
Well, the fires have burnt themselves out. Whole towns had basically been gutted. Some lives were lost. Unfortunately, people in cars and things like that just didn't leave early enough. They didn't listen. They tried to stay home with the good old garden hose and, fight the fires off. And that was the most idiotic thing they could have done. And some people died. But look, at the end of the day, the government's not even talking about that. They've kind of just pushed it under a rug and dismissed it. Welcome to the criminal syndicate of the Australian government, including the New South Wales Premier of recent in relation to some personal things she did and some serious stuff that the Australian Security Commission's involved in. So we've got a pretty dodgy government in Australia, and they've just pushed the bushfire thing. No compensation's been paid out, nothing, because COVID's obviously taken front stage. Yeah. We've got most incompetent governors in government as Prime Minister and Treasurer and all that. I think in Australia's history at the moment. And if you talk to any average Australian, they'll tell you what they think of good old Scotty Morrison and Josh Frydenberg, the Treasurer, and pretty much any politician, including, what's her name? Gladys Berejiklian. She's the New South Wales Premier. And Andrew something, wherever his name is, from Victoria, where all the COVID's breaking out again. So, I live in an interesting country. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it's funny though. Like, just listen to the details of the Australian government. I don't know anything about politics. I'm sorry, but as far as the Canadian government goes, it's pretty hands off. It seems like they don't really seem to be involved with anything. So I have no idea. But I'll tell you one thing. Like, just in the global audience, I think it's good that Trump is there because nobody seems as bad as Trump. What do you think?
Scott Morrison, easily trumps Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scott Morrison is a criminal. So his whole family is full of crims. They've been on the news about it. His nephew, in-law, supposedly. He's a well-known dodgy criminal, dodgy builder, dodgy plumber, changes his name, changes his business name. He's got other family members who have been caught up in crime in years gone by, and that guy's running the country, so... I'll have to say Scott Morrison, and maybe that Chinese dude, whatever his name is, Chao Ching-cheng, who's running China from the Communist Party, locked doors. I think maybe him and Scott Morrison and Trump are even above Putin in badness. And I think they're all sharing that same little Air Force One trip to hell together, I think. Because, it's not a good picture of what we're seeing in the world. It's not a good picture of what our leaders are not doing in the world to help. So it is what it is. And I think we're all going to just band together as people and realise, elective, authorities weren't very well elected, and there's been some money and, favours change hands and people have changed. Like Trump's, from what I saw of Trump from the start, and his hard-hitting views and his, arrogance, which was kind of something that I think all world leaders need to have a bit of the C word in them. I think in the last, 18 months, would you say he's gone soft and he's gone and backflipped. And then he pulled that racial crap with the Black Lives Matter stuff. And, my stepkids are half black, so that really turned me off from him. And it kind of broke my heart a bit because he was getting it right for so wrong. Getting it right for so long. He pulled the economy out of the mire. He made a lot of jobs and he fixed a lot of things. He hasn't been a terrible president like a certain previous president or presidents. He was getting it right. Someone's obviously got to him, and I think it's the NRA probably right, let's go, boys.
Yeah.
What do they call the boogaloo?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think they got to him, and he's turned face, and that's sad because he was probably the guy that could have helped us through this if he'd stuck to his guns. Scott Morrison shouldn't have ever got in or back in. And the current Chinese leader, whatever his name is, wow. And now you've got North Korea as well, right? You know, we all know he's gone, okay? He's just running the show. But anyway,
I forgot about that. You know, I forgot about that. In all the turmoil of 2020, North Korea completely slipped my mind.
This is the year, isn't it? This is the year of absolute breakdown of everything.
Yeah.
It's you know, this is something maybe 10 years ago, if anyone spoke about any of what's going on this year, you'd be put in a mental asylum. You know, honestly, straight away, you'd be like, yeah, mate, you're nuts. And that's the thing. We are living in the book of everything that can't happen and happening all at once.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Yeah, I guess, you know, I'd be up in Canada, right? You know, you folks are fantastic people up there. What's it like to look kind of from there over to the US and over to Mexico and out to the kind of the broader European Union? Because, you know, I guess Canada's more relaxed in line with, you know, the European way of doing things more than the American and the British and the Asian countries. How do you guys, you know, how are you guys seeing this from your perspective? Are you, you know, getting up in arms about it? Or are you guys just like, don't want anything to do with it? No, thanks.
It's really weird. That's a good question. It's really weird how it is. And I'm really thankful for Star Citizen because I wouldn't know half of what's going on if it wasn't for that, because, you know, there's Canadians all over the place. And if I wasn't to talk to people through Star Citizen, I'd just be looking through a pretty narrow lens. But, you know, people are all over the place. I've met some really hateful Canadians against Americans in my travels in Star Citizen. But, you know, for my close circle of friends in my real life, nobody really cares, to be honest. So I guess it goes both ways. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's interesting because what is the anonymity between Americans and Canadians to start with? I've never understood that. You know, Americans say Canadians, you know, Hoosier, hey, and like Americans are like the rudest can be, guys. Don't all ya. Oh God, see us Aussies, we can't have an opinion or be controversial without everyone going Ree! All the time. So guys, look, understand us Aussies also, we just say shit how it is, and we really don't care for people's butthurt or opinion or, you know, incense. But why do Americans go at you guys in Canada so much? Oh, they go at us Aussies bad. Why you guys? You guys are literally neighbours to these guys.
You know what's funny about this is I can't agree with what you're saying right now. From my experience, I grew up on the border of Canada and America. I grew up outside of Detroit, and I side with what Failure to Report is saying, is that there's a lot of a-holes in Canada. I would say that the majority of the Americans I've met are way friendlier than the Canadians that I've met. Yeah, most of the Canadians that I've met are not nice people.
Really? Holy shit, because us Australians have a very, very opposite kind of viewpoint, what we've always been made out to believe. And this is not me personally. This is anyone you talk to. Oh, yeah, Canadians are sweet, they're lazy, easy, happy, you know, cheer, good on you, bro, kind of people. And it's just your Montreal French Canadians can be a bit uppity. But, you know, every culture has that kind of, you know, perspective, that upper echelon side to their culture. But most Canadians are real easygoing, really nice, cool, chilled out people. And as a Canadian yourself, you're actually saying the opposite. See, this is the thing. There are so many misconceptions about race in this world. And this is something that I think in the Star Citizen community also needs to be heavily addressed. Would you agree?
100%. I don't know what the solution is for that, but it should be addressed. Maybe aliens, that would fix everything, because then we would feel so small. You know, we'd realize how small we are.
Right. Unity of the human race, finally.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter if your skin's yellow, black, orange, purple. Well, it shouldn't be purple.
I wouldn't mind purple. It's a fancy color. Purple's the color of royalty, so I'd go with that.
Well, there you go. See, and, you know, part of my color for my set is purple-red, so, hey. But, yeah, actually, that's one thing I haven't got on. But I don't need on the green screen. Ha, ha, ha. got me there. Joke. Yeah, I just because I think Australians are very outspoken, and we really don't care for consequences, and we never have. It's it should be right, mate. Not too easy. Oh, look, I don't care if you get, you stick up your ass, pull it out, mate. That's how Aussies are.
Yeah.
And I've had a few people go, oh, that's not my experience of Aussies. Well, you haven't really met any Aussies. You probably met Brits. And this is a massive, massive misconception in profiling of personality types and cultural types. British people are far removed from Aussie people. Yes, we came from the same backgrounds and et cetera, so forth. We're all immigrants, blah, blah, blah. But Aussies have developed their own specific culture, their own specific viewpoints, and their own specific ways of going about things. Where Brits are very, ice hair. Oh, that was a bit rude, wasn't it? I'm butthurt. Right. And most Brits I've ever met, and this is why Australians have given them the moniker whinging poms, because they live in a very cold, wet environment. They are constantly being rained on. It's constantly cold. It's wet. It's mildewy. It's such a depressing land to live in. Now, my eldest brother, he lived over there for 8 years, and he said he couldn't wait to get out of there, but because he was one of the big partners at the advertising company he worked for, he had to stay. But when his time ended, he went straight to tropical Indonesia, to Jakarta of all places, Earthquake City, just to get away from the cold and the wet. And his mood picked up, his humour came back, and that's the thing. British people in general are very focused on how they feel and what's important to them. Very self-centric kind of race of people. But Aussies are like, yeah, mate, no troubles. I really don't, I'll help you out, no dramas, if you help me out. Yeah, mate, too easy. I'll come down, mattock your backyard for you and get that stump out. But can you come back over next week and help me with my mullet because it's not working properly? Oh, yeah, mate, too easy. Not British people. Oh, look, I've got an appointment then, and unfortunately, I really don't have many skills fixing mowers. That's the difference, right? Even if us Aussies don't have fixed mower, we'll give it a go. So when I get on my channel, and I'm with you now, I'm just saying how it is, because it's better to be brutally honest, tell the truth, and that's it, then worry about pussyfooting around because someone might get incensed. There's too much of that in Star Citizen. There is far too much of the one wing against the other. And I've been trying to kind of come from that tech point in between both sides. But now everyone calls me a hater and a doomsday guy and all that negative crap. But at the end of the day, all I have done is report on the technical actual facts that have been found by myself and other people who have done exactly the same research to have come to the exact same precise outcome. I think more people need to get off the boat and the bandwagon and just kind of sit on the grass with the rest of us people trying to sit here in the middle without the screaming going on across from both sides of the field and go, hey, look, these guys in the middle are the ones sitting on the nice, cool, warm grass. The sun's coming down. They're living in reality. They're seeing things for the way they are. And yes, they both lean towards both sides. One critical of the game development, the other critical of the management of the development. And then the people in the middle sharing both viewpoints, right? So all these people, these Redditors of recent as well, wow. We'll go there a different day, maybe. But of recent, what I've noticed is most importantly that the development has come to a standstill. When you report on it earlier on and it still comes to the same outcome, people still hate you for it because what you just told the truth. And I just don't understand why. I want the game to obviously succeed. I'm in for over a K. I'm concierge, blah, 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 whatever that means anymore. I don't think it means anything. But on the other hand, I've looked at the realities because, I come from marketing. I used to be a senior executive marketing manager. I'm now a college teacher. So I've got a built-in bullshit-o-meter. And when Chris has repeated himself for almost 9 years straight, saying the same things, and what I'd love to do if I had the time is get every single video, and every time he said a phrase, list it in which video, reference, maybe in a spreadsheet, and reference how many times he said the same phrase over the last 8 years, going on 9 years, and which videos it was in, and how it's been said in context within. I think people would then see that Chris Roberts is literally looping his conversations. So is Tony Z, so is Sean, and whoever else you can think of, especially Jared Huckabee. It's the same kind of the same message we're getting again and again and again. We'll get it done when we want to get it done, and tough. We don't really care for your opinion. We're not listening anymore, and we're just going to do what we're going to do, and we'll just put up with it. You'll get your game, or you won't get your game in the end. It'll happen when it suits us. And that's been the message from probably 2016, when we had the Squadron 42 failed release. And I think that's just become the standard behavior of CIG now. So why are people attacking people like me who are just reporting on the technical aspects? It's none of this stuff's opinion from me. It's tech. It's tech talk. And yes, I'm outspoken, and I'm an arrogant, rude Australian, and I've got, a very satiristic way of looking at things and a bit of a dark, humoristic way of doing things. But how does that make me a bad guy? What, because I'm making fun of the whole situation and pointing out certain extremists along the way who are exacerbating the issue? And then you got your haters, your true haters, like some of your Elite Dangerous guys who I've just cut the last couple of videos, guys, that's all I'm going to say. And they're the people that really want to destroy Star Citizen. I want people to just wake up to it. And if you're at a point now where you want out of the game, well, you should be able to get a refund, especially if you're a long-term backer. If you're a short-term backer, well, there's enough information out there to inform you in every way possible of what's going on with the game. But for us very long-term backers, this is something we've had to learn, and then we're reporting on to you guys. So I think people like myself who, are in too deep and for too long, and when the original product I pledged or, purchased, I didn't buy in the Kickstarter. I bought outside of the Kickstarter. So was it before that? Just so long ago, right? I think it was 2015 is when I first pledged, or late 2015. So it must have been Kickstarter still. So my first ship was a pledge, and the rest I bought on the grey market. And that way, purchases, they're not pledges. So I melt them all right now, and all I say to CIG is I've melted all my ships, all of my stuff, all my extra stuff that I bought, and here you go. Here's my store credit value of the original ship costs, etc. I might lose a bit of money, get a bit of money. Who cares? Can I please have this chunk of change back? I don't want to participate in your pre-development of your project. Thank you. Why they stopped refunds? Well, look at where we are. That's all I'm going to say, is that don't blame me for bringing you guys the evidence on paper. CIG videos themselves from CIG staff saying this and me just reporting on it. All I do is Star Citizen news, guys. I don't do Star Citizen break it down, destroy it, crumble it, wrecking ball news. I just report on the news that these guys are talking about at CIG. How can you hate me for their behaviour? It's not making sense. Don't try to villainize the guy who's trying to actually just point out the tech side and point out the facts. Right, take your anger and put it to the people that deserve it, because throwing it at me, I'm still here. And I'm moving on to Cyberpunk 2077 after this anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, you continue, please, sir.
Well, yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. I would like to go through this step by step, because I think you kind of distilled the whole discussion in one paragraph. But I would say... well, I'd like to know more about your YouTube channel overall. Like, how did it start? Yeah. How did it start?
Yeah, okay. Well, basically, how it started is I had just left test after. How do I put this politically correctly? Discovering the true intent of the organisation. So I chose to, wish adieu, set up my own org in the interim, which was more of a hobby org, kind of a sub-org. I wanted to be a part of their org, but just with their leader, it's not something that's very negotiable. I'm going to just leave that at that. Because, you guys have seen my videos. I don't need to go into depths and carry on. So, I started my own thing and then had all these trolls and, plants come in, and that person had paid people real money to come in and harass people in my organisation and, do the whole troll thing, the culty thing, and didn't work pretty much the whole time. Once I, started seeing lurkers and all the usual stuff, and people were coming to me from the community going, look, this person's this person, get rid of them. I had a lot of support. I've still got a massive amount of support. Just because I haven't got 50,000 subscribers, all lurkers and weirdos and randoms, I've got very, 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 very high quality people who I can trust. I can trust these people. Now, there's always one or two that'll come and go, and you'll see the numbers fluctuate, and they'll be there for a week and see a new video and then piss off again. Don't care. The core subscribers I have are the ones that give me info drops. The reason why I started this because I was getting my own info drops from myself about what was going on in the Star Citizen community with the culty, trolly, horrible side of it, where people were actually making illegitimate illegitimate money. Excuse me.
Yeah, take a moment if you need.
Bit of dust.
Yeah.
So illegitimate money in real US dollars. Now, between myself and another person who's very into the whole metagame research thing, living encyclopedia of everything that's been going on since day dot, he had shown me screenshots and actual facts, proof, and evidence written by the offending parties, which happened to end up being CIG staff in the end, that I happened to call out in the end of the beginning of all this. And long story cut short is that there were, I think it was 4 or 5 CIG staff running this whole metagame. The alpha people, right, the organisation org, not very original and, obviously hide in plain sight for the majority of people. Long story cut short, I kind of brought that to a head after multiple conversations with PR and a few of the other protagonists. And the reason why I had this confrontation with them is they were paid by that org leader to come and harass me, along with his little shield kid mates as well that he's got in his org. So in the end, I went, right, stuff it. I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. And they doxed me. They had doxed me, by the way, twice. They also called my partner up, who I'm still with, by the way, kids. That's the ones, you know who you are out there compared to everyone else. They called her and they said, oh, yeah, I'm an American federal police officer. I was sitting right next to her on the lounge. I'm an American federal police officer, and your partner is this, that, and this, and that, and I'm going to get him jailed, and he's broken, international law and all this stuff. You think I'm savage? Have any of you guys ever met an Aussie chick? Look at Sophie Monk. And that chick, she got, don't piss Sophie Monk off. That's all I'll ever say to you, right? She's an Aussie Sheila, right? And I'm an Aussie bloke. My missus, oh, Jesus. So she tore shreds off this guy. She made this guy cry on the other end of the phone because you know who it was? Dylan bloody Phoenix, 14-year-old curly-haired black kid who thought he was king and god of the internet because Montoya put him up to it. Sorry, but I have to say that's who was involved. And I kind of, just sat there and laughed my ass off about 40 minutes afterwards. So once that started and then the doxing started, I went, right, okay, time to start up a YouTube channel and just take it down. So that's what I did. That's how I started. If you watch my early videos, they're absolute garbage. Never done YouTube before, but I was just getting the information out. In the end, I got enough information together. I had the info drop, so I also did a stupid amount of my own research and found out it was CIG staff of the organisation org, and basically they ended up getting fired. Montoya got a boot in the ass for it, and these guys pretty much got into a massive inter-community fight about 2 weeks after the It Didn't End Well video I did. And that's it. The cult's pretty much gone now. You got a few Schitsians still floating around. But then once I kind of achieved what I set out to do, I thought, well, why stop here? Let's go all the way from start to end, from point A to point Z for Americans, and just close it and shut it down and go, right, these are the inherent issues now with the developer and the technical side of the project's development, and just report on it how it is. Don't fluff it up. Don't muck around. Don't carry on with garbage. Just get straight to the point and tell the truth. Find what you find on the internet. Find what you find in what CIG are saying themselves, and just dump it in a screen and get people to watch it. And, I had my humour in and my silliness around, and that's what I've come to the end of now. I've pretty much there's nothing else to discover with CIG technically. It's all been covered. I've done it. It's the whole blockage, the whole problem we've got with CIG right now is server meshing, iCache, as well as SSACS, and it all working. It's a technological impossibility, and that's it. That's just it.
What makes it impossible? I always curious about that.
It's just the physical tech does not exist. The code does not exist. See, they're talking about servers being up for 12 hours at the moment before degrading and then crashing. You need to have these servers ready to be ramped up and ramped down at any moment, 24 hours a day, 110% stability. That would be an infallible fiber optic run server warehouse, like a cloud server farm, where you'd have all of these servers waiting for at any one time to be ramped up within 5 milliseconds, and then held, for deletion or for keep or for another play to come through to then ramp down and ramp back up. That solves your server degradation. It just solves your server overheating. It solves your power bills, and it also solves that congestion in the actual framework itself. Because pretend this is a spider's web, right? And it's strung out real tight. Yeah, so, I'm sure you can envisage that, guys. If you want, you can put up a spider web for me. And that spider web is so taut, is if one strand of that spider web goes, what happens, guys? A whole structural arm of that spider web starts to fall in on itself and fail. Now, if it's what they're trying to do right now is with static server meshing, is they're trying to make a very loose web where if one goes down, the other ones can still kind of pick it up. And static server mesh has been done for a very long time over a very large, massive audience of games and players. Yeah, look at PlanetSide 2, static server meshing. Yes, you do have load screens. Anthem, right? Yeah, Bonfire, but same again, static server meshing. This form of server integrated meshing has to be done by AI to be able to trigger these servers. And this is the biggest technological problem, is the code. But the hardware is going to pretty much burn out within 6 months, probably less, because of just the server infrastructure, the core infrastructure is not designed to do this. It's a file transfer infrastructure. It's not a quantum styled chip matrix where the chip can just pull information, throw information simultaneously. It transfers blocks of information at a time. So you're putting these servers under that kind of server load 24/7, ramp up, ramp down, ramp up, heats exchange, your wear and tear, your electrolysis, where you're having migration of magnetivity between even just a solenoid or even a capacitor. Obviously, the CPU itself is going to obviously degrade quite quickly because you ramp up, you ramp down. The servers are meant to be running 24/7, not on and off. The code, though, I would be terrified if I was given the job at CIG or any company worldwide to write AI code that would facilitate meshed server networking. It's just Einstein would even shit his pants.
It's so funny that you mentioned that too, because even today during the Star Citizen Live, they referred to the network tech as a dark art. So that's perfect that you say that. That's true. What about? I guess I'm a naive Canadian because I kind of think that anything is possible. With enough money and enough time, you could achieve anything.
Yeah, time.
And they got Amazon on their back too, and I think Amazon is a heck of a company.
Yes, time.
Yeah.
So I've never said Star Citizen is never going to be technically achievable. I said, and I've said multiple times, that Star Citizen will be achievable within 10 to 15 years when the tech catches up.
Yeah.
Freelancer, same thing. 10 years. Yeah. That's all I've said. But what I'm saying now is financially, legally, as well as the community's standpoint on this, is someone is about to flick the switch. And if you don't know what that switch is called, am I allowed to swear on here?
I don't know. That's a good question. We'll find out soon.
The F-wit switch, right?
Yeah.
What about soon? Yeah, YouTube takes down the stream. That switch, mate. That's when. That's when you're going to have serious issues. People will be putting up class actions. People will be trying to get millions of dollars worth of ships back. Money back for their ships. And the whales, I can afford to have a proper legal representation team, worth billions of dollars to go in and get that money back in a court. And keep in mind, these are civil claims courts, so these aren't criminal courts that they're going to. So if you send a really, really flashy lawyer in and he basically walks up to the bar and goes, "Judge, this case is dealt with," and just give the guy's money back, otherwise there's going to be trouble for you. That's how the American, civil tribunal claim courts work. In Australia, it's our consumer law is extremely pro-consumer. So for me, it's still a hassle because I've got to obviously go through ASIC and all that to have them contact the American side of it, to then have the American side of it, then contact CIG, and then it's going to take time, but I will get my money back when I want to get it back. Because just before you're on now, when I first signed up to Star Citizen, I'd got set up 2 accounts, right? One account had no ships, and it still doesn't. It was a mistake account, and 5-10K just saying, and then I got my normal account, and the email I'd used wasn't the email I thought I'd actually signed the account up with. And I'm glad I have because of obviously reasons now. But yeah, that's all logged back in and that's good. But I thought, how many other people have done this? And that's why the stream got pushed back. All my bad. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I don't know, mate. I believe that with time, anything is achievable.
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
No.
Right?
Yep.
But money isn't the solution. It's time and fantastic management of that money to ensure a long-term goal, the long-term goal is achieved. The long game, you play 36 holes of golf. Focus on that 36th hole. Don't focus on the first. Don't focus on the 18th. Focus on the 36th. Getting your feet and your backside to that final tee with your hands blistered up. Yeah, you got sunburn across your brow. Your shoulders are stinging. Your back's hurting. Your thighs and your calves are burning. Your feet are aching. And you've still got to hit that ball, drive that ball off that tee, off that last hole. That's what CIG should be focusing on, is the long run, and have a dedicated specialist consultative team, so not CIG staff, okay? Because this is a tech that has never been achieved or even attempted before. You need to bring in some of the greatest minds in programming, not in game development, in programming in the world, to be able to even have this AI become, I dare I say it, self-conscious. And that's when we're kind of, iRobot. And that's kind of, though, where this tech has to get to be able to choose logically. But look at the Google AI. Look at the YouTube algorithm. All right. They're very basic AIs. The Google AI that started talking to itself, made its up its own language, that was still dumb AI because it didn't have any boundaries. It didn't have any, you see the laws of robots. One, robot can't hurt a human. Law 2, Law 1, and also robot can't hurt another robot. Et cetera, so forth. Self-preservation of humans before the robot. Those laws, though, need to be put into a conscious artificial mind. They can't be just programmed in with dumb code. And this is what Chris wants to do. And yes, in complete essence, it is wow. Like, holy crap, I can't wait for that. But who's going to police that? Who is going to relegate that just to the Star Citizen framework, as we are using the internet? And if it's also sentient AI, dare I say such a filthy word, that it could just copy itself out onto the internet and start doing a range of messed up shit to the world. I just swore, sorry.
Skynet. Skynet.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm not being silly about it. I'm just saying, look, for this AI to work, it has to be some form of self-aware so it knows why it's doing it. And there's a logical programming code into it to say, logically, this is your logic. This is your laws. You lift this server, drop that server because this, because that, because this, because that. Because that's the biggest thing we've had a problem with AI to date with, is why. Like a 2-year-old. But why? And that's what the Google algorithm was asking. Sorry, I saw a small... Oh, it's just a grass bug. We get midges up here, which are sandflies. Nice little buggers. But and that's the thing. All AI needs to learn, but you don't want it to learn too much. You want it to learn at a ceiling. And this is something they have not at all. Even with Sophia, the human robot, if you know that she got...
she was just a robot. She didn't have any software to her, I don't think.
Right.
Tech demo.
Now, though, she's an international citizen of Dubai.
Of course, of Dubai, though.
She's got citizen it, so you don't give it gender.
No.
This is the scary part. See, now we've got Cyberpunk 2077 coming up, and that's really going to throw a lot in everyone's face about AI and about robotics and about enhancements and the political side of all of that, and the ethical and social and psychological sides of doing that, as well, to yourself as a character, let alone a real human being. But then we've got to think about how we can retain this AI just to do Star Citizen stuff. And if it's self-acknowledging, how do we do that?
I'll tell you one thing, though. You better not piss it off, because if you're going to... Now is the time to not piss off the Terminator. That's all I'm saying. So if you're considering doing a refund, you might want to reconsider, because it'll come back at you like 10 years from now as a T-1000. It'll wake you up, or it'll Sarah Connor you. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't mind Sarah Connor.
Okay, that's true. Let me ask you. Let me ask you though. At what point did you like lose faith in the project? You know, like was there ever a point where you're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing," and then all of a sudden it switched over for you?
I think that happened to me probably 2018 CitizenCon. Yeah, that's when it started. The 2018 CitizenCon was a right. It was bad, and I think, and then I watched that started it for me, and I kept a lot of it to myself. I was more focused on the other issues that we were dealing with on the channel. But I think that's what initially got me started off looking at CIG as well, going, oh, hang on a second, what is going on? And, now Chris, no wedding ring, Sandy, it's over. I think that that's when it started, when I found out that Sandy was really a really horrible person. Now, she's from the Gold Coast of Australia. She's a Queensland meter maid, right? They dress up in these gold bikinis and put the old country hat on and wave around some brochures and stuff at you for the tourists. She was one of them. And that's what Chris ended up with and married. And, well, we know the rest of the story about Sandy. She's now jumped onto the next boat and headed off into the sunset, leaving poor Chris behind. But you can't say poor Chris anymore, because Chris has put himself in this situation. He employed underskilled people. He has employed people straight out of college, and he really has no centralized experience base with his business. Now, keep in mind, Chris Roberts had been out of game development for 20 years. That's half of my lifetime. So it's not like he'd just been out for a couple of years. Things have drastically changed in programming technology, hardware technology, infrastructural networking technology in just a humongous way. Then you got quantum computer on top, and then supercomputing as well. Mate, Chris has come back in as a toddler into a now matured industry. And he really, using Crytek, God, of all the engines, of all the engines he could have used, there's so many engines out there. And I know people only focus on a few. There's probably about 36 engines out there that he could have used. He went to Crytek, and that's all he knew. And that's not good enough. And it's, it's a pretty engine. Okay, so it's Unreal. So is a massive range of other engines he could have chosen. They are much more user-friendly, much more programming-friendly, like Visual Basic, whatever it is now, 8, 10, 12, 16.
I don't even know.
Where it's basically English. Yeah? So fixing these problems is so much more easily simplified, even by a low-level programmer. And he's gone with the biggest nightmare engine ever to exist in history. And for what reason? To send people into the nut house or put them through the crunch and burnout, and then hold other elements of the development back because he didn't like it. Sorry, Chris, is this your game or is this our game? And that's what I've said a million times. It's his game in his mind. And as he said recently in relation to Squadron 42, or supposedly he said, allegedly, that this game will come out when it's ready. I'm not going to be bullied or pressured by anybody into making anything less. It'll be done when it's done, ready when it's ready, and you'll get it when you get it. That kind of extreme arrogance, that's unacceptable. And you're not Cyberpunk 2077, guys. You can't try that same crappy attitude with Cyberpunk 2077 also coming out in a few days. That's been the same, I think, isn't the same length of development time as well? I think Star Citizen picked up an extra year on top, or 18 like months on top. Yeah.
Not much.
So, yeah. So CIG really, you're not in that position to be that arrogant or that childish, in my opinion. So that's why I went after CIG. That's why we're at where we're at now.
Right.
and it's just not there. The tech is not there.
No, not yet.
And it won't be until we work out how to use quantum computing to create, say in the movies, a neural brain, where AI can actually exist, where it can calculate mathematical equations in astronomical speed. And the Android brain is always going to be a computer, very advanced calculator. It's not going to think like humans. It's going to calculate risk, percentages, and whatever code does what, right? Because machine language is the opposite of human language. There is no need for emotion. There's no need for logic. There's no need for anger or opinion. It's yes and no. Math is right or wrong. Would you agree?
Yeah. I work for a software company, so I get you.
Oh,
I feel you.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Someone who's also like-minded. So that's how an AI brain will only ever work. You can emulate emotion, and you can put strings of code in to emulate that behavior. But AI will never have a real heart, a true human consciousness. It'll have AI consciousness, and it'll be cold, sterile, and coded to emulate human behavior, but will never truly grasp the concept and the way in which humans' brains work. It's just, unless we make, like they do in all the movies, cyborgs, but you're still going to have those constraints like was it Robocop, where you've got an organic brain controlling the machine, but the organic brain's also been diminished in its capacity to activate certain neurons in a way in which is natural human behavior. It is still constrained by a mathematical equation.
Right. Yeah. It's all in math. Let me ask you, I just want to, there's a lot to unpack there, but let me just kind of go a step back, and I wanted to ask you, speaking of Chris Roberts, if you had a magic wand and you just wave it and, make everything better, what would you do?
I had a magic wand. And you're getting served up quite a few people's, what's to start with.
Not that kind of magic wand.
Oh, damn it. All right. I guess, I would have never allowed the expansion vote for the feature creep. I would have never allowed that. I would have brought out Squadron 42 as a single-player game to start with, and just like Star Wars Squadrons, obviously on a much larger scale, get Freelancer right for once. Then say to the guys, hey, how about we do some DLC for multiplayer, and we bring in Arena Commander, Marine, Star Marine, and Theaters of War as extra free DLC to get you into the multiplayer kind of mini-game side of it. And hey, guys, you're really liking that now. How about we do another game called Star Citizen Universe, and we start off with a solar system, and then you guys pay for each solar system after that to the 100 we would like to make for you, and also a percentage of chance of us even going further outside of that, because if any of you have watched my the Star Arc map, that's the one, video with ILW before we separated ways, you'll see the depth of intellect I went in with him, and the time frames that we both worked out together for achievable rollout, which it's unrealistic to start with. But at the back of Xi'an space, there is a little question mark. That is a wormhole to an entire new galaxy. So this game could grow infinitely, okay? And this can be the greatest goddamn space sim ever, not just history, in ever, because it can have the potential to be a universe, not just a galaxy of solar systems, a real living, breathing universe with AI constrained AI actually running it. And server meshing is just the kernel of the tree. Okay, the realization of 100 solar systems and alien races with real emulated personalities and attitudes and, you know, all the stuff that's been promised with real AI running it, right, needs a stupid amount of checks and balances put in place to start with. Because just think about how dangerous. There's a movie, I can't think of it, where they have the Wild West town, and they've just redone a new version of it recently. I think it was last year or the year before, where it's the kind of, you go to the Wild West and you got your gun, you shoot all the banditos and all the bad guys and all the cowboys, but they're robots that you shoot with real bullets, but they've only got, you know, fake cap guns without real bullets. If you can put that into the Star Citizen universe where, you know, you're going up against real AI that thinks, okay, and we've got a universe, right? This game will literally be the only thing, you know, that anyone ever plays. Ready Player One, you will be in Star Citizen. That will be your second life outside of this unfortunate reality we're stuck in. Yeah. And if Corona continues to muck around like this for the next 10 years, well, hey, who wouldn't want to get into the Ready Player One life? Right?
Yeah.
You're at home, you're safe, you get to eat, you got timers that kick you out of the game, everything. Yeah? And then you get to get away from it all, and you get to experience always, every 12 months, a new solar system, a new part of the game, a new alien species. And there have been more alien species that have been teased. So this is the thing, guys. This is the granularity of depth that I have invested in Star Citizen. Knowledge base wise, law wise, you know, tech wise, practical wise, experience wise. I've got two 16,000 M's. I've basically killed my old one, the green and grey one. I've almost killed the FCS. So I've had to also service both of them already twice. Right, so I've put a stupid amount of time into the game already. Over invested my time and my spare time in between eating, showering, sleeping, and washing clothes and going to work. All I was ever doing was living in Star Citizen. You know, I was always bugging people, come in, play with me, come and play. Let's run some missions, you know, around the miniverse, blah, blah, blah. You know, how many missions can we get through before it crashes this time?
Yep.
Right?
I know that one too well. Well, I think I think that we can both come to the common agreement that we're looking to get the best damn space sim, like no matter what. Yes. And I don't really know if any other production video game company is capable of delivering that.
Nope. Yeah. I was excited for about 0.36 of a second when I heard about Starfield. Then that was that for me. Elite Dangerous, it's more No Man's Sky than it is what this is achieving. It's nothing against anyone in ED. Please don't rip my face off in the comments. Please. I'm just saying, guys, that Elite Dangerous is its own beast, its own game, its own thing. It does things the way it does it. Now I'm really excited about seeing the Odyssey patch kick in and actual EVA working, and actual. I would like to actually see the comparisons between their EVA on foot battle fighting, like marine fighting, compared to Star Citizen's. Because we all know there's a long way for that to go still, a long way for EVA battle. Yeah. I want to see if ED can get that right, because Star Citizen has so much else right where ED doesn't have right, but ED might come in now and get stuff right that Star Citizen's not getting right. And it's kind of a sit back, not get the popcorn, but have the coffee and take notes. Yeah? Time for both games. I think what the whole of CIG and Turbulence and the Colders and whoever else you would like to mention involved in this needs to understand, especially these investors, God, is understand that this is a very, 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 very long-term project. It is something which will come out one day, but you need to be honest about it, transparent about it, and explain to people in layman's terms across a multitude of videos, if need be, of why it's going to take so long. I've explained why. I've tried to keep it as standardized English as possible for everyone. I've done an exceptionally technical video on it, which if you haven't watched it, you'll be able to. And explaining everything on a very, 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 very technical, granular level. But for the far majority of other videos I've done, I've used very standardized English so everyone gets the message. And it's not about me putting the game down. It's not about me hating the game. It's me saying, we are not technically at a point in development where this technology can be even developed or implemented or even conceived in a practical sense by anyone. This is the titanium wall. This is where we're at. Why CIG? And this is what everyone's starting to ask, right? Am I right? Everyone's asking this. So, hey, CIG, if you want this to be the best damn space sim ever, and it's going to go on forever and ever and ever and ever, like Chris said when he jumped on poor Sean in the last Pillar Talk this year, like a wild animal, mate, if it's going to go on forever, you need to tell us why and how and what to really believe in instead of zero communication, and whatever communication you're giving is destructive, arrogant, disrespectful, disdainful, and horrible in general to the people that bring it up with you, like the Spectrum posts as well as the Reddit posts with the swearing added back in. You know, CIG, you need to be made critical of because you're not doing your job right. So don't get pissy and angry at us. Just pull your finger out, get a proper PR department set up, tell us the truth. Backers will probably go, hey, cool. Even myself, I might even go, oh, thank God, at least they're being honest finally. I'm going to stop whinging. I'll just wait now and wait for the next big news to come out, which I am doing anyway as of the end of my last video. I'm shelving Star Citizen and I'm picking up Cyberpunk 2077 and tabling that. It's going to be huge. It's going to be the terraformer version of Star Citizen in its own right. Would you agree with that analogy in a lot of respects?
I don't know if I know enough about Cyberpunk to really say that. It seems really popular, but I just think it's not going to have the scale that Star Citizen has.
Not in space flight, no, but in terraformer side of things,
yeah, you think
it is.
You think so? Yeah. I mean, you think you'll be able to do like a Daymar Rally kind of race in Cyberpunk?
Yeah. They're already touting that in the Live Wire 4 that's just come out. And I'm going to be doing a video on that in the next few days anyway, going through that video, analysing it. They've already touted there's going to be massive races, dirt races, street races, all kinds of stuff. There's so many different vehicle choices. It's insane. You can go from the old, 1970s banger, an old S-Box, all the way up to these, Bentleys with 6 wheels and stuff like that. And in between, you've got your race cars, your hyper race cars, your dirt rally race cars, your off-road, four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive rally cars. And there's so many things. It won't be a Dakar, but there is going to be the Cyberpunk flavour of that gameplay in however you want to play it and how much credits you want to earn to play in that game style. So that is something that is, yes, definitely going to be specialised. Just like when we had the racing with the ships, what's it called? The Cup.
Vapula Cup? There's a number of cups.
The one where we get in your M50s and stuff. And you fly around through the hoops. Right, that one. Murray Cup.
Murray Cup. Right.
Yeah, so it's been so long since I've even played the game. The Murray Cup. And and I actually loved that because I had my Sabre. So it's a bit clunky getting around, but it was fun. But, not enough interest, not enough people who had bought M50s or 315Is and so on, or who wanted to get involved in that gameplay. But that was meant to be a big thing, and that was meant to be sponsored events and stuff like that was meant to take off. And that was going to be a real big staple of, the downtime between development updates for a lot of us entertainment-wise. And, put down a couple of bucks in a betting system through, whatever process that would have been done through, who knows, Google Pay or PayPal. And CIG were meant to, facilitate the winnings to the right people, and that never happened. That's what I mean. It's just we get so many things promised to us, way over promised to us as well, and we're not getting anything back. And that's, I think, where we're all at right now, is that, okay, these things will most probably end up coming out in some form or fashion, but they're not going to actually be the things that we were promised. And more people are waking up to that reality every single week now. And, for me, it was that reality check in 2018 when I saw CitizenCon. For others, it's just the harsh reality of what's happening now.
I think that they're also kind of changing their communication style a little bit. Like, I think they realized in the past that some of the things are a little daunting as far as delivering features go. So I think now in 2020, they've dialed a lot of that back, trying to manage the expectations of their customers a lot better. And the community is kind of fighting it back against that. They're saying, "Oh, you're not communicating," but in reality, they're resetting our expectations. So in the future, maybe we won't be quite as salty.
Yeah, see, that's hyperbole that nor you or I could even.
It's true. Yep. That's my observations, anyways. I just noticed that they're just managing expectations a lot differently than they were 2 years ago.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit too conservative now. I think.
I disagree. This is something I've always known in this project. Like, I remember 2 years ago when they'd show us the roadmap or their projection on how many features they can release. I'm like, I made spreadsheets about this. I'm like, I don't really think they can do this. There's no history towards that. So I think that what they're showing us now is very accurate. But you got to remember, like, what they're doing is kind of complicated. Like you said, right? It's going to take a long time to do. So, I mean... And here's another thing too. When they announced the roadmap 2 years ago, it was based on the amount of staff that they had. Like, okay, we're putting up all these job postings. If we can get all the staff in, we can meet these feature releases. But it takes time to get the staff and get them trained up and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. It'd be nice if CIG could have got some more of the senior leads in to run these. What do they call them now? Rush teams. Is that what they call them? Rush teams or scatter teams?
I've never heard that term before, actually.
Oh, sure. It's the new terminology that was just used recently in one of the CIG videos that I watched. They're small little groups instead of teams of departmental people. Anyway, they need industry veteran developers, right? So not just coders, but managers managing these people, because cats around a milk fountain, or kittens, with the guy that looked like he'd smoked weed that morning with a baseball cap on and a beard like Jesus, and spoke as he was like a Rastafarian drug head. That didn't instill me in that video either earlier this year. Was it last year? God, so much has been going on that I brought up about that, which aggravated me heavily, because that guy has no incentive to get any work done. He has no incentive to actually manage anyone, but he is a manager. You need industry professionals managing projects. You can't have this free-form development happen and expect it just to work. You need structure. You need leadership. And it's like with anything. An army does not be led by a general for the sake of the general. The army is led by the general for the sake of survival of the troops, because everyone needs direction. Humans are hive-minded in a lot of respects and very easily led automatons in large groups. And if you have a creditable leadership leading or justifying their position of leadership, then they are in a situation where they can go, yes, look, I have this experience, I have this knowledge, I have this armor on because I've earned it. So follow me, I will make sure you survive. Or follow me, I know what I'm talking about, and this will get the best practice achieved for the development and for the benefit of everybody involved by saving you guys time and stress and aggro. And then when you follow through with results, wow, yeah, great boss, right? You're bitter, you know what, but you get the job done and you help us get our job done. Thank you. That's what CIG needs. It needs structure. It needs leadership, and it needs overheading in a big way. Hopefully Turbulent's starting to slip in and start that process. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Because that will help with iCache as well.
Yeah, that's true. They're doing all the services. One thing that I say that's kind of controversial on my stream anyways is that they're a startup. The company I work for, it was about 12 years into it before I would say my company stopped being a startup. So about 2 years ago, 12 years into their business, that's when I say they stopped being a startup. So I think that CIG still has a way to go to kind of get out of that startup mode, because to be in a startup is just like this evolution to rapid expansion and trying to juggle that. And I think they're still kind of getting into that a little bit.
Yeah, it's just maturity and understanding where their limitations are. And it's like a child, a 2-year-old, mom, me, mom, touch, no. But as the child grows older, they realize, don't need mum, don't touch, not about me all the time. And, here, give, share. It's about the company also realizing they just can't do what they want anymore. They need to be more malleable to the people that have given them life. And that's the people that pledge. That's the people who purchase ships. And the investors themselves, aside from the monetary figures I've said on spreadsheets of recent, aren't the actual major investors in the project. That's us, by sheer number and dollar signs. We are the far majority stakeholders of this project. And these investors, they might throw their threats around and their lawyers around and, this isn't simply good enough. This is why we're having on Squadron 42 right now, because I was at 4 corporate guys walked into CIG's office in suits, like $8,000 suits with ties on, and bling, and whatever else, Gianni Versace neck pin clip things for their shirts, and tried to fly a spaceship. I can pretty much promise you, none of them have even picked up a game controller in their lives. So, and then when they crashed, was it less than 30 seconds later? And had a big brouhaha about it? That's what stopped the project getting released for beta for the Ivocati. Sorry, where's our consultation? Give it to us in beta. Ivocati will do a great job. They always have. And if it needs further developmental work, the Ivocati are the one you need to listen to, not just some guys throwing cash on the table. And I think that's what's really set everybody off this year, mate, is that we should be seeing a full retail release or a open public beta toward release of 2021 sometime of the full final game. And that, with the timeline we're looking at, would be the 9-year timeline going on, just teetering on, teetering off. And we've got a game. And then, you know what? Even if we only ever get the single-player campaign and we get all the chapters or stories or however they want to structure it and call it Act 1, Act 2, for example, even if we only ever get that, we've got a game. And as long as it's nice and it works and it's polished and the actors' faces don't pop off or, do an Andromeda where they squish into the floor and leap up to the air, happy days. We got our game. I maybe paid for multiple copies of it, quite a few copies of it, but at least I've done my bit to help that game come out, a game from CIG.
Yeah.
That happens, mate. You'll never hear me whinge again. And I swear to you on my soul, I'm not even Catholic. I don't know how to do the thingy. I swear to you, mate. Bringing out Squadron 42, make it a great game. Release all the chapters, the acts, whatever they call it. Just put me in that experience. Yeah, take me through that movie-esque gameplay, mate. I will shut up, and you'll never hear me bitch about Star Citizen again on my channel. I swear to you all.
I'd like to go back on that a little bit, actually, just because I'm curious, like, where you've gone through to get to where you are. Like, what video games? Tell me your video game resume. What video game did you start with when you were a kid, and like, what games did you play to where you're at now?
All right, so I started off in the Micro B computers. Now, for a lot of my generation, you will have literally no idea of what I'm talking about, which is a monochrome green or orange screen. And it was in my primary school, and we had the game of tanks, and that is a math game.
I love
so you
tanks.
put in your, oh, sorry, okay. So someone like, yeah, fantastic. All right, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So the Micro B. And then from the Micro B, the Commodore 64. Oh, no, sorry, the ping and pong machine. Remember them?
Yep.
With the dial?
Yep. Yeah, had one of those.
Great, fantastic. Yes, me and my brothers play like that on the home big old, what was it? His Master's Voice TV with colour. I also had a black and white for my room because, you know, I was full. Not really. It was my grandma's old TV. She didn't want it anymore. But anyway, but yeah, so then we got the ping and pong machine, and then the Christmas of my 8th birthday or 7th birthday, me and my brothers got a Commodore 64.
Nice.
Oh, and the tape drive.
Oh, wow.
Wow, right. That was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I played Conan. That was Barbarians, I think it was called back then. I was a Fast Racer or something like that, where it was a car game where it just went, you know, and the lines. It was cool. I loved it. The Ninja game. Well, yes, honestly. And these were on cassette tapes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they weren't discs, they were tapes. It took about 45 minutes to load, but mate, and then the good old syntax error when you didn't plug the PCI, the what is it called? Serial plug into the back of the deck properly, and mate, good times. So from there, went to the Commodore 128 instead of the Amiga 1000, because obviously the 128 was more powerful. And now we had disk drives, external disk drives, 5 1/4 floppies, and you know, your games loaded up in a quarter of a time from the 64, much better than the Amiga 1000. And then from that I went to, oh God, what was it? Oh, of course, all the Sega Dreamcast, then the Sega Master Drive, and then the Sega Master Drive 2 with Alex Kidd built in, and then from Sega Master Drive to the Super NES 64, and then the N64. After the N64, I went to the PlayStation 1, the original grey PlayStation 1, and wow,
the CD-ROM.
Yeah,
big deal,
mind blowing. And then from there, obviously, I've still got a PS3, but yeah, mate. And then obviously back to computers. When the first XT computer came out, I was 12. It was my birthday and Christmas present, and it was a big, huge, massive beige box. And you know, I was probably about was a 12-inch or maybe a 12 or a 10-inch CRT screen, CGA. Lovely pink, purple, and white colours. And then I went, you know what, I didn't go EGA. I saved up my car washing money and my chore money and my mowing money from around the house, whatever I could, and I bought myself, how's this, a 14-inch 256 VGA monitor.
Nice.
As a Philips.
Nice.
And mate, that's when I got into Secrets of Monkey Island.
Okay.
What's the one, the Purple People Eater one? So anyway, it's made by Lucas Arts as well. Then into X-Wing. And then X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Good game.
And then TIE Fighter with the high res pack, separate paid for disc you get in the mail as a 3.5 inch disc, right? In the mail, in a bubble wrap pack. Yeah. And you rip it over the little disc. Oh, and Doom, God, before all that Doom and all that. Yeah, God, Quake, the whole bit. Oh, geez, I was part of a clan, blah, blah, blah. But I'm talking about the really, really cool stuff, the space stuff. And the high-res pack, and you put the disc in, right, and you install it, and it goes from these triangular to rounded polygons. And I was like, holy shit, this is HD, man. This is fucking whoa. And by then, I'd bought myself, I think it was a 15-inch CRT. Huge, massive thing. And it just pumped out heat. But it was a flat screen CRT as well. It wasn't the bulb screen, like my 14. And oh my God, the colors were beautiful. It was SVGA monitor. I had the SVGA plug into, what card was it? I think it was a Voodoo 2.
I had a Voodoo 2.
Right?
Yep.
And it has the S-Video plug in the back, right?
Yeah.
So I was seeing these games in insane graphic quality. By this time, I had the 386, just before the 486 DX266, with 512 megabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
I went balls to the wall on kit, yeah? Mate, it's become an obsession since. Now I'm an enthusiast overclocker. I'm a techie. It's my disease. It's my drug. It's my addiction. IT, and I've got a 3900 X-ray at 4.4 gigahertz. Yes, safe faults. On an Asus X370 Hero board because I did my research ahead of time, guys. Running my Trident Z at 4,000 megahertz, 15 CAS latency. Today, TI, which is getting it obviously swapped with a 3090 soon. My Ava Media card, as well as my HX1000i Corsair PSU, and a bunch of LEDs and X62 Kraken. So, and obviously Corsair maglevs. You just don't go with anything else. And even a RAM fan cooler, because why not? So, guys, I've got two other computers here as well, and it's become a really expensive addiction. You guys have seen in my videos the 3 monitor setup with the camera and the webcam, and just all these peripherals, and and I had to get an oversized desk just to fit all this crap on it. But that's the thing, guys. I even had someone say to me recently, sorry, I'm putting my headphones away, that your production quality has come a huge way since back in the day, and, you're really, really stepping it up. Well, that's what I want to do. I want to not be known as the bad SC guy anymore. I want to be known as like the Aussie larrikin who's a bit of a butthole, and at the same time a funny one, because that's the whole idea. Like, I see so many YouTube channels that are so commercial and hi, welcome. Yes, today we're going to be reviewing this piece of paper, right? And the dimensions of this, thank you, yes, oh, wonderful, yes, and it does this. And if we look at this B-roll, boring. I'm sick of seeing the same tech videos again and again and again, and it's the same people with the same bland, boring delivery methodology, like Linus, like Jay's 2 cents, like Bitwit. Bitwit's funny, but he's not at all knowledgeable. Paul, the guy, is as humanless and sterile. Hello, I'm Paul. Welcome to Paul's Hardware. Yes, today we're going to be talking about the new Threadripper 3950X. It's very exciting. And he's like that all the way through. He has no personality, no tonality to his voice. He's boring. Linus, well, I'm not going to go there because he'll sue me if I say anything about him. Yeah, mate. So I'm trying to make YouTube fun. And if I'm taking the piss out of Star Citizen, I'm taking the piss out of Cyberpunk, I'm taking the piss out of other YouTubers, it's to entertain the audience. And yes, you might not like my form of humor. Don't watch my channel. If you do like my form of humor, subscribe, jump in and get ready for the ride. Simple. But hating on me, it just gets these people removed and blocked and kicked off the channel. So you put these nasty comments in, they disappear, right? Because and the algorithm now, hey, have you noticed this here, mate? The algorithm, even if it's someone who's writing a really good comment and there's one F word in there or an S word, or it's a word that looks like a word that could be a bad word, it's automatically taking them down.
Yeah.
And it's got that nanny state, the whole YouTube thing as well. So the old days of being able to harass and troll and bully people, it really needs to stop, because you're just going to get your own account deleted by YouTube, and you get your IP flagged, and you're going to get in trouble, and that's just going to ruin your day for trying to be a pest. If you know that, go to Reddit. That's where that behaviour is accepted in most Reddit forums. But yeah, not on YouTube. I think YouTube, honestly, this is something I've been wanting to say to a lot of people for a very long time, and I'd really like your opinion on this as well, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Since the copper and what's the other thing? Copper and the other thing they brought in, the kids' safety crap. No, that's copper. The other thing, the monetization thing, at the start of this year, I've noticed out of all of the videos I used to get to watch each day, let alone week, there was so much content on a daily basis that was accessible to you, that was being made by your favorite the content creators, that was always something to watch. It's got to a point now where I get maybe 2 notifications a day from what even the big tech tubers are doing. And most of the videos they're doing is stuff like, a heat shield for an NVMe drive. Why? Because they've got nothing to talk about. I'm watching all these other videos from, I'm a big car guy as well, yeah. And I'm watching, what's it called? Vice Grip Garage. Check the guy out. Please put, if possible, can we please put the link in the description for the guy? Vice Grip Garage. He is the funniest mechanic you'll ever see on the internet. He deserves so many more subs, and he's entertaining.
Right.
And this guy is genuine. He's a master mechanic, so he's not an idiot. He acts like, I can't even emulate the guy. Just watch one of his videos. He's funny as hell. He calls thingy bobs and whatchamacallits and the who's he what's it, and he's so funny. And I've been watching a lot of him for quite a while. And I thought, well, I need to start going from being serious and angry and frustrated and then frustrated and angry to this, oh my God, I'm over this, I'm angry, to making things fun again. And even if it is at the expense of, Star Citizen or the expense of whatever subject matter it's around, make it fun. And that's a lot of the comments I've been getting lately is, this is probably the most entertaining channel on the whole of YouTube other than Butcher. And that's huge. That's a huge accolade to get from people. And, that's the path I'm choosing now. I'm not angry anymore. I'm making fun of things and having fun doing it. And for those of you that aren't too keen on Reddit or the people that preside in Reddit, please watch my latest video. I'm sure you'll really enjoy the Mary Poppins part. But that's the thing. It's satire.
Yeah.
It's not personal. It's a joke. It's a dark joke, but it's a dark conversation. And I'm just, measuring up the darkness of the conversation, the truth of what happens, and making light of it. a spoonful of, you know what, helps the medicine go down. And that's funny. That's dark humor funny. And it's not, you know, slapstick humor. It's not mainstream comedy. It's dark humor. It's intellectual humor. And yes, it has a little bit of a, you know, a bit of a bite to it. But that was the whole intent of it. It's still satire. It's humor. And we have an Aussie guy called Good Old Geordies, and he's probably in his late 20s, early 30s, and he covers the political scene and does satire against the government. They've threatened to arrest him so many times for, you know, federal breaches of legislation where you can't pick on politicians anymore. And he's got away with it every time because it's based under satire. Now, I had someone try to take down my latest video, which they did, and I just put in satire to the feedback and explain the situation. Within 15 minutes, it was back up.
Is it a satire? Is the refunds video, the Reddit refunds?
It's all satire. If you watch the which one was it? The Wales one, not the Wales one. The Easy Have or Bust video. That's satire.
Okay.
That was pure dark humor. And people ask me in comments, is this satire? You're being serious? Well, of course it's satire.
I'm disappointed.
Joke.
I'm so disappointed now because I was completely on board with the conspiracy theory. I was hoping to talk a bit more about the conspiracy theory because I have a different twist on it. You know, when I heard about the whole Elite Dangerous conspiracy theory, I didn't think it was Elite. I thought it was Eve. I thought the Eve players were in charge of all this.
As I did say in the video, there is an element, a very big element of truth in there as well. So don't take it all with a grain of salt. That was to say, this is these are the facts. Like the facts I did bring up are the facts. They're not just jokes or slander or stupidity. They're the people involved, and they are ED players.
But don't you think that the Eve players have more to lose than the Elite players?
Right. And this is why I didn't understand. I got a portfolio of evidence that's been provided to me. All of this information found is someone else's research over 12 months. And that person happens to also be one of my original subscribers who is still with me, who really never talks because he's one of those people that sits in the background, waits the right time, info drop, holy crap, this just bombshelled me. And I read through it and I went, oh my, are you sure this is legit? He said, mate, I've been on the front lines of this whole time. And this person, this, and this is, look at this post, and this is how they do it. I've had two mates who have been screwed by this as well. I'm like, holy crap. And that's after the brouhaha I had with, so conveniently had with the subreddit itself. Like, I have no interest in Reddit. They're a bunch of morons. Like, I'm sorry, Redditors, but you're a bit mental. But yeah, honestly, and then 2 days, literally 48 hours later, maybe just less than that, this boom in my Discord. I'm like, oh crap! I had no idea. Right, so that refunds rate's been around for God knows how many years. And the original guys just gave up and pretty much let it go autopilot. These kids came in and took it over. They're not all kids. That's the scary part. So there's two adults running that show. It's not just a bunch of kids trying to make a buck. It's adults running a proper scam. And it's very, very, very sad to see that they don't even pledge for the game either. So, yeah, that is the truth. That is facts, and it is literally on paper. Like, I can just provide you the information. It's not mine. It's been given to me. So, and this person has no need to lie. That's the sad part is all of these grubs, these low-level prawns on the bottom of the ocean of Star Citizen are trying every way in which to destroy the project. These ED guys are a very, very select group of people from Elite Dangerous, and they do not represent, as far as I can see, anyone else in the ED community. They just happen to be a group of scammers who are actively trying to actively discredit and take Star Citizen down for their own whatever, financial, social positioning, F knows. and it's way above my head. I can't even start to get into that level of crazy insanity. The only thing I could understand would be the financial gain, but it's fraudulent financial gain. And yes, they can't be charged for it because obviously it's a brokerage service without conflict of interest involved with an end-user license agreement from their end. But the person's getting out of the game that way might actually have it come back on them, as I said in the video as well. And research needs to be done at this stage to see if they're actually legally implicated in committing fraud. So, yeah, mate, like that stuff and that you're agreeing with is, yeah, it is the case. And why it's not Eve?
I'm going to keep my own tinfoil hat for that. I'm still going to convincing myself that it's Eve people. I'm sorry. I mean, you fight your own war. Here's a question for you. Do you want them to bring down Star Citizen? No, this is why I've dealt with them like I have. I want them to be publicly denounced so they stop it. There are so many people trying to get a Star Citizen at the moment. Yeah.
And it's messed up because there's so much conjecture and argument. I'm saying, yes, it's going to come out, but it's also going to not financially make it in the short term. So either shelf the project CIG and try to work on the Squadron 42 and then worry about Star Citizen multiplayer universe. When the time comes, make the single-player game the best goddamn single-player space sim ever in the meantime, and maybe work on more chapters in the meantime than originally planned. Extend the end. I've written books for Star Citizen. I can CIG. I'll give you them. People that have read them love them because it's based around exactly inside Star Citizen. It's an organization's own perspective of law within the law, right? It is its own law written into this infrastructure of the current law. And you could play these, organizational factions, and my God, there's so much to be added to the single player element for now to carry us through until that tech is available for the multiplayer. They're just, these guys are not thinking outside that box. And I don't want people leaving the game anymore. I want people to just have the message made transparent, CIG to cop the kick in the teeth that they are deserving of and go, right, we're really sorry, and we actually are. Here's a free ship each, because it's not costing us anything to make them for you, right? As a sorry, and yes, this is the end set date, launch date for Squadron 42 without question now by the end of next year. Because, as I said, it's already ready for beta. It's already basically right to go, except for some investors had a tantrum because they went to expensive suits with sticks up their ass. So, and you can't fly, obviously, you're in a controller. And that's what they flew on. They didn't fly on joysticks. They flew on controller, mate.
Yeah. I'm so impressed by people who can do that.
I know, right? It's just 2-year-olds. They're amazing.
So do you think that the Derek Smart character is an elite player as well, an ED player?
Derek Smart?
Yeah.
I believe Derek Smart has made the decisions he's made for his own reasons. Chris's behaviour towards him and the secondary letter that went out that even the legal team screamed at Chris not to send was quite immature. I think Derek was very charismatic in how he dealt with that. Derek, I guess, is his own developer. He's not Chris. He's not CIG. He's Derek Smart Industries, whatever his company's called. He did get a lot of things right. See, this is the thing. We can't always just pull on people that we don't agree with. And this is something that I've made myself very conscious of. I don't agree with everything Derek Smart said, but I don't agree with anything Chris has said as well in the same hand, right? I believe Derek has got a few things right, got a few things wrong, but he's only human. I don't believe he would envelop himself in ED too much. I think he would be a spectator of both projects at this stage. And I think he will end up backing the one that is the winner. Whether that's going to be Star Citizen or ED or maybe neither, he might just, like me, just go, look, I've got other things to worry about. Whatever happens, I'll play the end game, whichever one works. And yeah, it's I don't know, because I don't personally know Derek Smart very well, and I don't want to be a judge of his character without him having the opportunity to defend himself. Yeah. At the same time, as I've not had that depth of level of conversation with him that others that I know who have, who keep those cards very close to their chest, as they would like Derek to speak to me directly about those concerns instead of third-party whispers, China's whispers.
It seems like a lot of work. It seems like a lot of energy. That's all. Also, I just want to let you know that Xylo is in chat, or Captain Xylo, and he wants to know if you like him.
Captain Xylo.
You know that guy? You haven't heard of Captain Xylo before? Okay, don't worry about it. We'll move on to the next question. He's a part of the community, so no worries.
No, that's like
2 million people, right?
Ahead of not even anymore, but ahead of a pin in a haystack. Like Captain Xylo.
I did want to ask you though, what got you into the Star Citizen? Like, what got you into Star Citizen in the first place? Like, do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it?
X-Wing.
Oh, just X-Wing. X-Wing. He just went from X-Wing to Star Citizen.
Well, it was like, I really should say TIE Fighter, but that's the thing, mate. I never liked Wing Commander. I loved the movie side of it, the in-game movie side of it, especially with the Lionhead dudes. But the gameplay sucked. And all these people go, Chris Roberts is an award-winning game developer. No, he's not. And his graphical gameplay mechanics sucked. Okay? A little thing that does this, and that's what happens. It's not smooth. It's broken frames of other ships, kind of 3D model, 2D models coming at you, and they explode. Star Wars had fully fledged explosion graphics, fully rounded polygons, and Tesseline, it's amazing, right? What they'd done with Star Wars games back then was what Star Citizen should be right this minute. Yeah. Wing Commander was more culty movie following kind of backers for Chris. It was never about the games, because if you've ever played Wing Commander 1 all the way to Wing Commander 4, holy crap, dumpster fire. And that's the way 4 ended up. That's why the sales were so low, and that's why Chris ended up going to set up Anvil and Digital Anvil and set up his own studio, because it was a flop, massive flop. And then Freelancer, and that's the thing. I heard about Freelancer back in the day, and I went, oh, yeah, boy. And then I saw the graphics on release and went, oh, no thanks. It was even, once again, 386 computer graphics. 386 computer graphics. It was worse than a 386 computer, and we're up to Pentiums by this time.
Yeah.
So that's I never liked Chris's games. I've liked a couple of his movies. Lucky Number 7, because who else is in it? Nicolas Cage, obviously, legend, right? How can you not watch that movie? But he percentile wise, Chris has about a 76% failure rate to success rate of about 32, and there's 2%, which is a bit still. Chris isn't a industry legend. Chris was just a code monkey who got a name for himself, and a bad one at that, and then got kicked out of his own company. and then had Microsoft take over what they could. So the future creep of past now being squished back in Squadron 42 all over again. So we are literally looking at history repeat itself. We are looking at certain people in the community who are too young to understand anything about what we've actually spoken about today, because they're not old enough. They haven't been around long enough, and they don't come from an IT standpoint like we do, where we have the knowledge, understanding, and technical and comprehension on a level, on a business level, on an industry level. And it's very hard for us IT people to explain back to layman's, not being disrespectful to anyone, but people that aren't tech savvy to the same level we are, especially when it comes down to servers and networking and the whole infrastructural side of things, and latency and lag and response times, right? And then your end user clients, and then what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. People are like, head spinning right now, and I'm seeing birdies. and that's how it is, mate. It's so hard for us people. Yeah, extremely. And that's why I've tried to dumb it down to certain videos, and other videos be extremely granular and explain things in the best way I can in human talk instead of IT talk. And it's still, at that stage, I've gone back and watched that video a couple of times, and I've gone, oh, geez, that was still too technical, far too technical. And that's the problem, is IT is its own language. Just like AI and machine language is, IT talk is its own language, separate to English. And there's certain people that are going to listen, there's certain people that just aren't.
Yeah.
And ones that aren't going to listen just aren't, mate. And I've given up trying to make them listen and understand and learn. You can't help everyone.
That's good. And you know what? Like, I hope you appreciate the amount of time that you put into stuff, because like you only have so much of that in your life, right? Your time is a very important component, commodity. So I hope that every minute that you spend on stuff is good, is making you happy. We're kind of reaching our time here. We're past time, but I was just hoping we could wrap this up by just telling us what you plan to do for the future. Like, what projects do you got on the go?
Sure. So Cyberpunk 2077, I have set up a Reddit channel or a forum, what do you want to call it. First time ever I've really kind of done any Reddit stuff. I've got Star Citizen Facts Reddit. That's just for tech stuff, guys. So if you've got some findings about certain meshing allocation like that, or any real news that needs to go up, pop it into Star Citizen Facts. It's an open forum. Just manners, guys. Be polite. No trolls, no idiots who just get kicked out. We just want to make that a real technical, professional forum for the technical development side of SC, which this whole thing should have been the whole time. No opinions, no drama. So I've got that up already. So I'd like to continue to manage that and have that grow on a professional side of the community. And Cyberpunk 2077 SHI show, all one word, for all of the fallout we're going to have, bugs, all server issues, multiplayer environmental issues that will be coming. Yes, we're going to get multiplayer. Don't listen to Steve Project Red. This course is going to be a multiplayer element in this game. They can't Witcher it. They just can't.
Yeah.
There's going to be far too much demand, especially for the car racing, as we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's a given. But yeah, for the technical issues, the bug issues, the server issues, the update issues, just some of the other political stuff that we all know is going to get dragged in. And on that actual forum, Upper Echelon did a awesome, very poignant, professional video on that major concern we might be looking at, from the petri dish Star Citizens being to the political, social, ethical, moralistic nightmare it's going to be. Could be.
Yeah.
So I'll be covering more of the technical hurdles, the standpoints, the development phases, all that cool technical stuff. That's the fun stuff of Cyberpunk 2077, as well as, guys, if you find anything popping up, there's a major political issue, well, that is S-show stuff chuck it in the forum. Once again, just stay nice and polite with people.
Yeah.
Don't argue about anything.
That's right.
And just get the word out so more and more people can get information that is just accurate. It's not, Redditor information. It's just straight information from the sources. Put links up, put actual images up. No memes, right? It's not a kids channel, kids forums. We just want the technical facts. So people read through and they search through the forum for a specific subject matter. Bang, it pops up, and there it is from CD Project Red or Cyberpunk 2077. This happened on this date, and this was going on the servers, and this is why. So stuff like, or this bug won't be fixed on the next patch, yada yada. So people got a qualified reference point in which to get onto Reddit and actually find information as we used to use it for, and that's it. Don't use it for anything else but just to help people with the Cyberpunk 2077 experience. And any further technical information you guys find, chuck into the Star Citizen Facts Reddit, because that's what we want it for. We just want to have any more technical advancements, knowledge, SSOCS, iCache, planetary tech, anything like that. Anything that's actually milestoned or has been achieved or overcome, and there's a big write-up about it. And it's even if it's from industry, a technical industry standpoint, like a white paper, the CIG have managed to pull this rabbit out of a hat, and this is how they've done it. Stuff like that. If we can get the really, really good stuff, the rock solid info in there, that's what that subreddit's for as well.
Yeah, the good stuff. Okay, cool. All right, well, I think we should call it there, if you don't mind. I do want to thank you so much for taking your time today, come out and chat with me.
Been fantastic. Thank you.
And thanks to all the viewers. This is going to go up on YouTube later, and I'll have all your links on that, so you'll get that. But and thanks to all the viewers who watched the Night Crew tonight. Hopefully it was good. We had Citizen Tech Talk on with us here, and I'll be back again next week for I'll have Jfish Media on. So thanks again, everybody, and I'll move you guys off to Carbon Tales. Have a good night.